Welcome to the Life in Focus podcast. It's brought to you through Rogers Research Global with your host, clinical psychologist, Dr. Marie Rogers.
Hello and welcome to today's episode. This is Your Life in Focus, where we talk about all things neuroscience, mental health, executive functioning, psychoneuroimmunology, or loosely the mind-body connection, and mindfulness. Today's topic will be about the neuroscience of traveling and how it benefits your brain and health. It's based on an article I published on LinkedIn 2 years ago, and following that publication, created a YouTube video under the same name. I will post both links. In today's episode, I'm going to discuss how traveling is good for you, especially as it relates to stress management, neuroplasticity, and why a change in scenery is good for your brain and your health. The healthy creation of new pathways in our brain and nervous system, especially as we grow older, is the basis of neuroplasticity, and it requires new experiences. The question to ask yourself if interested in keeping sharp and a youthful mindset is, when was the last time I did something for the first time? The healthy creation of new pathways in our brain and nervous system, especially as we grow older, is the basis of neuroplasticity, and it requires new experiences. Many have heard of the term anticipatory anxiety, which is about creating things in our minds to become anxious over. It's predicting bad or worst case scenarios. How about if we start embracing anticipatory enthusiasm? Let's get in the habit of creating thoughts that help us look forward to something. That's what traveling creates and where traveling comes in. When young, a lot of life is first-time experiences. After a certain age, however, they become fewer and fewer. For some, there are no new experiences. These folks really are living the same day on repeat. If that works for you, then great. We all have to know ourselves well enough to know what is right for us. However, I hope that if you fall under the category of living life on repeat, that you will continue to listen to this podcast to the end, because there may be something here that inspires you to think differently and perhaps help shift your perspective to a different way of looking at or doing things. A main takeaway in today's podcast will be the following. Novelty increases attention and promotes learning, and is therefore what our brains seek to remain supple and youthful and operate at peak performance. This message will be repeated. Let's dive in. As we are fast approaching summer and no longer restrained by the global pandemic, many of us are not only planning but seriously looking forward to our getaways. Whether this involves a short excursion to a nearby campground or a long-anticipated overseas flight to an exotic land, travel plans are currently in full swing. We have been longing for connection and adventure. The itinerary may include visiting a new locale or revisiting a repeat destination, perhaps even reconnecting with family and friends. If you know me, you know I love traveling. I love traveling whether through direct personal experience or vicariously learning of another's adventure. I am that person who will ask to see your travel photos and video clips and will inquire about your travel itinerary. I'm going to ask, how are you going to get there? What airline? What ship? What train? What stops will you be making along the way? Questions like that. And then I'm going to want to know about your actual travels, what you did, what you saw, what you ate, who you met, etc. For me personally, I love all modes of transportation, but my favorite is to take flight. I love air travel. This is in no way to discount ships, trains, and automobiles. Hitting the waters, tracks, and roads excite me. But heading toward an airport, locating my flight and gate terminal, and eventually stepping on the jet bridge can best be described as a release of happy neurochemicals, not at all unlike the one of the Pavlovian response. Many are enthusiastically looking forward to an adventure, passports renewed, summer wardrobe updated, and dusty suitcases removed from the attics. We are eager to go. And more importantly, we should go. If you at all have been following this podcast, my blog, my articles on LinkedIn, or are doing my 12-week Life in Focus journaling workbook, then what I'm about to say will be a repeat for you. The message about health doesn't change. What's good for your mind and what's good for your body, it doesn't change. As humans, we were not meant to live each day on repeat. Same old is a dull experience. Same old is a dull existence. We need healthy doses of variety and adventure. Our brain needs the experience. Unfortunately, we're getting a lot of feelings of burnout and stressed out and not enough experience and adventure. I want you to think neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to continue to be shaped, molded, or altered, provides new hope and is one of the most exciting and wide-reaching discoveries in modern-day science. We now know that the brain, with its billions of neurons communicating with one another through the transmission of electric nerve impulses, is more malleable than previously thought. Our neurons have an enormous number of computational capabilities with various capacities, and the experiences we have will determine which of these capacities will be utilized and strengthened. Stepping out of our familiar and our comfort zone and embracing new experiences are, in part, the reasons behind traveling's benefits. When in a new environment or revisiting a familiar one but with a fresh outlook, we are waking up our brain. We are switching from autopilot to neuronal firing of new rather than habitual experiences. These days, we are simply spending less time out in nature, tapping into nature's rhythm and bountiful health offerings, and more time indoors, in isolation, and in front of screens. This is the recipe for fatigue, dysregulation, disconnection, and stress. While occasional stress and anxiety are normal parts of life, persistent and uncontrollable levels eventually become disabling. Stress was really meant to be temporary. Following a stressful or difficult occurrence or period, the body returns to a natural state. The heart rate slows, the muscles relax, and breathing returns to normal. It is the heaviness of chronic stress that increases the likelihood of poor health and a poor health outcome. To feel energized, focused, and a general sense of well-being, tap into your bucket list. If you don't have one, then this is a good time to create one. In all likelihood, traveling will be somewhere on that bucket list. The significance of the bucket list is that it connects us at our most personal level to the experiences we wish to have in our lifetime. And it allows us to look back and reflect on a life well lived. While time is measured in minutes, our memories are measured in moments. Our bucket list connects us with living those moments in full recognition that a life well lived is one in which there are few regrets and many happy memories. These memories will create sources of coveted and nostalgic reminders that we will enjoy sharing with others and revisiting in our later years. Whereas fantasies of visiting faraway lands and temporarily escaping our day-to-day are typical and inherent in almost all humans, a deep preoccupation or obsession with escaping one's life is not. The latter is often rooted in lack of purpose and also could be rooted in exhaustion. This could lead to feelings of depression. We want you to take a break from everyday life, but not live in such a way that you need to escape it. So, is traveling the magic elixir? In and of itself, the short answer is no. However, can it help? Yes. There is magic in planning and going on a trip. Again, think anticipatory enthusiasm. Traveling is a form of self-care, and heading toward a desired or dream destination allows us to check this off the bucket list, resulting in a feeling of satisfaction and a deep sense of accomplishment. The building blocks of a good trip are as individual as our personal needs, emotions, and intentions. Conduct a self-inventory and ask yourself what you need. Is touring Napa Valley's vineyards resonating with you, or is your soul looking for a private and secluded beach? What is considered fun and invigorating to one person can be experienced as exhausting and depleting to another. While some enjoy scheduling a tightly packed sightseeing itinerary, making sure to cover as many museums, cathedrals, and natural attractions as possible, others would find this timetable to be stressful and counterproductive to their need for a slower pace and solitude. A change in scenery is simply good for your brain. Creativity peaks when we mix things up. Novel experiences carefully woven into our lives have the potential to energize our minds and create new pathways for growth, as observed in the proliferation of neuroscience research in recent years supporting what we've already talked about, neuroplasticity. Upon returning home from a trip, travelers typically report a renewed sense of energy and motivation, expressing the vacation was exactly what they needed. Between empirical neuroscience research and anecdotal accounts of vacationers' experience, we can extrapolate that traveling is beneficial to our minds and bodies. As stated in the intro, novelty increases attention and promotes learning, and is therefore what our brains seek to remain supple and youthful and operate at peak performance. Traveling opens our eyes to our world and delivers a rich and diverse stimulation of new experiences, providing both cognitive and sensory nourishment. Imagine sunning on the beaches of Rio de Janeiro or Monaco, cruising out of the port of Alexandria or Miami, scaling the mountains of Vesuvius or Everest, visiting a cafe in Paris or Madrid, or people watching on Bourbon Street or Trafalgar Square. Exploring new architecture, landscapes, and cultures, and actively engaging in our world stimulate the brain in profound ways. While crossing oceans and time zones can be quite exciting, a getaway does not need to involve travels of this magnitude. We don't have to go far to experience traveling's healing effects. Exploring local areas within, for example, a 2-hour driving radius can be soothing and relaxing. Consider pitching a tent and spending a few days at a local campsite or kayaking, canoeing, or paddleboarding in nearby waters. The very act of connecting with nature is calming to our nervous system. It reflects a deep act of self-care. While few would disagree the importance of self-care, it is often not prioritized in our lives. Self-care encourages us and invites us to have and maintain a healthy relationship with ourselves so that we can extend this good energy to others. Planning a trip, marking it on our calendar, and anticipating our travel date are motivation boosters. Each and every time we see our trip on our planner, we immediately invoke the power of our visual system to create images of upcoming events. It creates a preview of the future. Attach a photo of the destination for greater impact. Rather than experiencing anticipatory anxiety, let's help experience anticipatory enthusiasm. I like this quote by Anne Lamott. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, including you. The benefits of traveling are plentiful. Traveling boosts mental and physical health. It resets and recalibrates our lives, which serves to enhance productivity and creativity while reducing debilitating feelings of stress and burnout. Also, when traveling to destinations of different cultures, it connects us with our humanity. We not only learn about our differences, but also of our similarities. We create moments that translate into memories. These memories become part of our personal repertoire and collection of experiences that we will happily share and look back upon with fondness. As the years pass, we will be pleasantly and positively reminded of a life fully lived. And to quote George Bailey from one of my favorite all-time movies, It's a Wonderful Life, you know what the 3 most exciting sounds in the world are? Anchor chains, plane motors, and train whistles. Well, George, I couldn't agree more. Now, go engage with your world.
The information presented is intended for general knowledge and is not a substitute for medical advice or treatment. As with most things in life, there isn't a magic pill or cure-all, but there are strategies to help regain control of your life. If you'd like to read or learn more about today's and other related topics, please visit drmarierogers.blogspot.com. Dr. Rogers' Life in Focus, a self-discovery journal for powerful transformation, is currently available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookbaby.com.